Okay, I have to say right off, this one's going to be good.
You said I look like Tyler Perry up there.
You do, in that picture. But you
think?
know we kind of look alike, right? All right. Lee Daniels, who's one of my buddies, Academy Award nominated filmmaker. You know the movies, The Butler, Precious. He was his feature film debut was Monsters Ball, where he is the sole African-American producer of an Oscar-winning and Oscar-nominated film, the only person. Currently working on an untitled biopic on Richard Pryor, and then of course we all know Empire.
Yeah.
Hence the tagline here, Expanding Empire. So we're going to talk about diversity. This is a difficult topic for a lot of people. It makes people uncomfortable. Interestingly, it doesn't make black people uncomfortable. I don't know why that is, right?
Why? I don't know why that is. Why is that?
know.
What do you think? I was told not to do this.
Not to do what?
This.
What?
Because I'm going to get in trouble talking about you can't
no.
win. It's a no.
No,
it's
no,
a,
no.
It's, you know what I mean?
It's like we're talking.
It's like that emoji.
So I'm going to start off really, I'm going to warm us up to this conversation. So my first question is, does Hollywood see you as a director or a black director?
I don't. I don't think they see me that way. I don't.
A director or black director? Just a director?
I think that they do see me as a director.
Just as a director.
I think that. What do you mean Hollywood? Are you saying executives or are you saying actors? Actors see me as a director. They know that they're going to get the truth out of me, out of them. I don't know the executives.
How do you think?
If
you're going to them with you don't think they figured you out?
I don't think I figured me out. So I don't think that they have figured me out. I'm on a journey finding out who I am.
Are we all?
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are further along, I guess.
Yeah.
Than others.
But I don't think that they figured me out because I haven't figured me out, and I don't think that they're trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm here on this planet to do. You know, I never would have thought that Empire would have been what it was. I never would have thought that Butler would have been. I never would have thought Monsters Ball or Precious or anything that I do would be what it is. So I think that they're figuring me out because I haven't figured me out. And
well, let me get to something you said recently. You were at a roundtable for the Hollywood Reporter, and you really sparked this firestorm when you really went there on diversity. And you said that you called out your fellow producers for not having diversity in their writers' rooms.
yeah.
And it became a very heated conversation, at least to read about, the back and forth. And you said it was inexcusable. What's important is that people of color know that they are wanted. What made you say that? What made you feel like it was the time to
I
say
didn't
that?
think it was a big deal. I thought it was like the truth. It was like, and then all of a sudden, I got these. It was so great, you know. So many people in, so many assistants, so many writers, so many people of color that work in the industry that I didn't know came up to me and they were hugging me and saying, thank you so much for speaking and saying those words. And it was just saying the facts. Those are the facts. And then I get in trouble.
Do you think there was
I can't win.
Do you think it was discomfort because you were again getting to this topic that makes people so uncomfortable, or that you basically then had this counterpoint where you said that on the Empire writer staff, you had 9 writers, 6 were people of color, 4 were women, and so you were basically saying, well, how is it that I can do this and others can't? Did that put them in a tough position, you think, or how do you think they were?
I thought that everybody felt embarrassed and that they were being defensive, but there was no reason. I was just asking, how is this? How can this be?
How did you get to having such a diverse group of people write? Did you say, I want black people writing for this show?
I made it a point to say, you cannot write for me. And then I got in trouble for saying, you cannot write for me.
You said that it discourages you, I'm paraphrasing, when white people are writing about black people. Give me more context for that.
Well, I could never assume that I could do Schindler's List, ever. I wouldn't.
Because the story is so much focused on a Jewish story.
Yeah, and it's so brilliantly done by him. I could never assume to jump into The Godfather, though I would love to, you know?
So then how do you square that circle for me so that you're saying in this Hollywood Reporter luncheon or roundtable that you're pushing this idea of diversity in these writers' rooms. So could there was a group here from Silicon Valley, the television show. Could they say, well, there's not many black people in Silicon Valley, so why should I have diverse writers on my staff?
Because from a perspective, we have to see from our perspective, there is always someone of color in Silicon Valley. So we have to have that voice. We have to have a voice.
What do you think is missing when that voice isn't there?
The truth. And it becomes a bunch of bullshit.
So are you...
And I think that, again, I've said this several times, I think that they continue to underestimate the media, the networks, the production companies, they continue to underestimate the intelligence of America, of what it is that my mom, what my friends, what your friends want to see. And so we sort of, and everybody's afraid in Hollywood. Everybody's afraid.
Were you ever afraid?
Never afraid.
Never.
Never afraid.
Never.
Never afraid. When you're put in a trash can early in your life and you're told that you're nothing, fear is nothing. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid now for my kids. I worry about my children, my son, 19, that call's coming, that he's like, you know, like something's happened to him. So that's the first time I've experienced fear.
Tell me the story, or tell us, you've already told me, when he was in the elevator with the new people who had moved to your building.
So my son lives on the Upper West Side.
With you?
With me. And
in a nice building.
And so he's been raised there for all of his life. And he's sort of based on the character Hakeem that I've created in Empire.
And your son is gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
I mean, stunning.
And he knows it.
And the manners are unbelievable.
He's really, but he's my color. And
our color?
Our color. And
we call that dark-skinned.
Dark-skinned. But
Skinned is 2 syllables.
He started acting a little weird. And I just chalked it up to being 16. And he said, Dad, I'm not really comfortable around white people. I go, what are you talking about? I wanted him to have everything that I didn't have. I yanked him away from an environment that was doomed for death, doomed for drug dealing, or doomed for working at McDonald's. And I threw him into a place of...
Because you adopted him?
Yes.
In a tough situation.
And so...
twins.
Twins, my
boy and a girl.
My daughter. And he was acting weird, and I was like, what's going on with you? Where are you right now? He says, I don't know, I'm feeling sort of weird around white people. I go, what are you talking about? Your girlfriend's white, your other father's white. What are you talking about? And he couldn't articulate it, and he was saying that he was in the building, and it didn't happen one time, it didn't happen 2 times, it happened 3 times, where these new young couples come into the Upper West Side into the elevator with him and are immediately intimidated by him, and they go, what are you doing here? And he goes, I don't know, what are you doing here? I've been living here all my life. And so I took him to Howard University.
All black?
Yes.
Historical black college?
And I got in that car, and and it took me back to where I grew up, and I got out that sedan, and I wanted to yank his ass and bring him back in that car. I was terrified. But he was, that was a joke. But black people understand it. It's called diversity. But I was terrified because I thought, and then I understood how the white people felt in the elevator.
So you didn't feel safe?
Are you hearing me?
No, I'm hearing you.
It's some deep shit.
Listen, I am tracking.
Yeah.
Didn't just roll off the turnip truck. So now that you think about this place that you hold in this expanding empire, I mean, when I think about it, you truly are the new establishment. I mean, that's the name of this conference. You truly are, in terms of what you're doing and the barriers you're breaking. What I think is interesting is I read a quote that you said that you're truly hurt by critics. But what I wondered was, How does it feel when your own people, African Americans, reject your work?
Well, let me tell you about the critics. The thing that hurts me about the critics is that they don't have the prism that I have. They don't see the world the way I see it. So normally the critics are people that are not of color, that don't understand that I see it from a different point of view. So they think it's bullshit. And they think that I'm like, what is this crazy man talking about when I speak for volumes and masses? So, and so that bothers me.
So I get the critics part, but then let's go then to people of color who I was amazed.
Yeah.
I was reading comments on Empire,
Yeah.
and a bunch of people said none of the characters, all of the main characters have light skin.
I can't win.
And I was really shocked by that. I said, here's this story that, is huge.
Yeah.
So how does that make you feel? What
Hurt.
do you say?
I can't win because you see, we have as people of color, even now, we have to be on we have to live on a higher plane. I'm not allowed to be gay because it's an insult. It's hard enough being African American, being black. You can't be gay. That's too.
But you are.
And it is what it is.
And you're not in any way, less than upfront about it.
No.
And so is this just, again, back to no fearlessness and being comfortable
Absolutely.
with who you are?
Let me just go back to the whole thing with the black thing. The thing is that I remember leaving the edit room of Precious and thinking, oh my God, I don't know whether I'm comfortable. I felt like I was naked and I was on the toilet and I thought, oh my God, this is I can't show this movie. It's too close to home. It's just too real. It's just too personal. And it was the backlash, people, and the same thing applied to when we finished with, when Halle Berry won the Academy Award for Monsters Ball. And she didn't even get a nomination for an Image Award because she was projecting the African-American woman, with her legs open to Billy Bob Thornton. It's a very complicated...
Do you think it's a situation where it's so real people find it hard to believe?
Yes. No, I think white people find it hard to believe, and I think that, like when I showed Precious when I first showed Precious I tested it at the Magic Johnson Theater because I didn't know that it was going to be an Academy Award type thing. I just thought that African Americans would get a kick out of it, and we showed it to the Magic Johnson Theater to a group of 800 black people, and it played as a comedy.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kick her ass, Mary. Kick her ass. It was like, and then we played it up at Sundance, and it was a lily white audience. And you could hear a pin drop. It was art.
Art. Interesting. I don't know how you find that as a comedy.
Because come on, man. Because, girl, we living with George Lucas. Come on.
I don't know what...
That's not a diss. That's not a diss.
I can't even track that one. Interesting. Okay, I just don't see that as a comedy. Let's go to Empire, because you say it is not a show about race, it is a show about family. But 15 million people watch it, more or less, every week.
Yeah.
Huge success.
Yes.
Huge. Ratings go up every week.
Yeah.
But 62% of that audience is black.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I don't know. I don't worry about that type. I can't. The minute
You did not know that.
I don't worry. I cannot get into the demographic or the statistical, the numbers or anything. I get out of the bubble and then I lose sight of what it is that I'm trying to tell, which is the story, which is the truth. And the minute I start thinking about what Hollywood thinks about, then I've lost.
I want to show the clip. There's a clip, and I want to come back to this family issue.
Okay.
Why aren't you eating? Did you poison us or something?
Nah, that'd be too easy. I know I was only gone for a few months, but it gave me a whole lot of time to think about a whole lot of things. Like my wonderful family and how y'all all banded together to try and destroy me.
Dad, I told you I'm sorry.
Andre, don't apologize. I'm not sorry.
Not yet, but you will be.
Unless what?
You dismantle this little lion dynasty you got. and everything will be forgiven. From the leaked album to the hostile takeover to your pillow.
So you just want to forget everything?
You know what I mean? We done been through a whole lot. But at the end of the day, we are family. And I want my family together. And if I can have that, I'll let go of everything else.
No, Lucius. I doubt if Jesus Christ himself could save you without burning his hands. But I'm gonna save my sons. I'm gonna build something very nice for them. So I really don't care what you do with Empire.
Three of y'all are here because y'all failed miserably. My ex-wife, my ex-CFO, my ex-son who wants to be a rap star, working with my ex-wannabe girl and with some of my ex-artists.
So it's not about race, it's about family.
Yeah.
That's the inspiration.
Yeah.
They happen to be black.
Yeah, I think it just, like, people are running around trying to recreate this show with thinking that you got to put a bunch of black people on television or you do musicals. Again, it's all about just telling the truth. People want to see themselves. It's not a black story. It is a story. It's the American dream, as I know it to be.
But the audience, I said 62% were people of color, but the rest, 38%, are not.
That's
which means they're not seeing themselves, they're seeing something different.
But they're seeing the human condition. And the human condition is not of color. You know, it transcends color. We're not of color. I mean, yes, we are black and they're white or whatever, but we're people. We're people, you know, we're people, and that's the human condition.
But there are different experiences, cultural differences in
Cultural
life
different experiences.
that are revealing.
Right, but we still have a heart, and we still take a shit, and it's all the same at the end of the day.
So
and we're all the same at the end of the day.
You talk a lot about truth and honesty, a lot. So you say that when you create, you're being as honest as you can be about what you know. Now, this is what I found interesting. You said at one point your mom, who is here in the audience, said, "Why can't you make movies like Tyler Perry?"
Why you got to say that?
She did. You said it. I read
Yeah.
the interview. You said it.
Yeah.
So how do you think about that? I mean, what does that mean? Is the truth too raw, or is
I
the
think
Tyler
it's the
Perry
church,
comedy
because the
make us more-
church wants to see, you know, they want to see this. They want to see make pretend. They want to see, you know, happy.
But isn't Medea's everyone's crazy black aunt?
Sort of, but it's happy. You know, it's happy. We got to hit with realness, and I think that people relate to realness. People want to see realness.
What kind of responsibility do you feel being a person of color, putting a spotlight on issues of family, but that happen to be controversial topics that involve people of color? Is that something that you think about, or you don't think about it at all? What are the ramifications of this? How will
I'm
this...
learning all along. This is all a new experience for me. I didn't, as I mentioned earlier, Mellody, I did not anticipate for this show to be a hit. I didn't. I wanted to, you know, say, okay, check, that's off my bucket list. You know, I didn't anticipate it to be a hit at all. I just wanted to step my feet into a world. I wanted to learn as an artist. And so, what was your question on it? What was the question? I want to make.
My question was, do you feel a responsibility around these topics?
Right. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, you got to have this responsibility. You have to have this. I have to feel. And then all of a sudden, I'm accountable. I'm accountable for.
Does that feel extra pressure?
Yes.
Or does that, it does?
It feels extra pressure because I'm just a man. I'm a flawed man. And I'm a flawed man on a journey to learn more. I want to learn how to be a better father. I want to learn how to be a better man.
How are you learning that from your art?
It's therapeutic.
The actual writing and creation?
Because what I do is everything you see is what I'm living. You know?
So George said to me as I was talking to him coming here, he said that...
How is he?
He's out there somewhere too.
Hey, George.
He said every filmmaker makes personal films.
That's correct.
No matter what the film is, it's personal. You agree with that?
Yes, I don't know how to tell it if it's not experience. If I hadn't smelled it, if I haven't eaten it, if I haven't tasted it, you know, if I haven't experienced it in some way, if I haven't watched my mother do it or my sister
So does
do
that
it.
mean your stories are limited to your own experience?
Not at all, not at all. Because I have friends that have experiences too.
So the tangential, just hearing about it, knowing about it, learning about it, reading about it, is a part of your experience then, and allows you to expand beyond that. So,
And also I have a fantasy, you know, I have a fantastical, I have a, you know, I have an imagination. I can write.
how much, we were talking about this in the green room. So who are you with success and money? Versus that person who...
Right, well, I'm trying to explore that right now because I'm still trying to find out who that person is. And, you know, that's a hard thing because I still feel comfortable. I thought that I was comfortable in the streets. And I realized that I'm not comfortable there anymore. And that, you know, everybody that I grew up with are not my friends. And that I'm in a different world right now. So I'm struggling with that. And that's something that I'm dying to articulate on screen in some way, shape, or form. And I've spoken to people like Oprah, I've spoken to you, Denzel. You know, there are people like, what do you do when your heart is there, but your world is in another place?
And
I think that's fascinating material to write about.
Because I don't think people really understand that dichotomy.
It's
you
very
have people
painful.
in your life.
Very painful.
They can't understand the life you live, and so
No.
therefore you do not share it,
I
right?
had a cousin that came in, and I was coming from a screening, and it was 10 o'clock, and she was coming into town, LA, and she stayed at my house. I hadn't seen her in many years, and she said, "I'm home. Pick me up some fried chicken on the way." And that was a joke again. And I'm like, really? I'm texting back. I pull over, I go, and I realized that I couldn't win. I could not win. So I said, white meat or dark meat? And, you know.
I got the chicken.
Yeah, I went to Kentucky Fried, pulled her over, and watched her arteries clog.
But it tastes good.
I didn't taste it.
So if you look at this expanding empire, this season, 42 new shows on the big 4 broadcast networks.
Yeah.
There are 42 new shows. 13 of those shows, or 30%, star either non-white actors or feature non-white casts.
Wow.
What's going on?
That makes me feel really good.
Do you think you had a hand in that?
I think Danny
They
and
saw the success of Empire and they said, I
Danny
want
and
some of
did.
that?
I do. I think that I hope that they get it right. That it's not just about the African American experience, but about the American experience, or about an experience. You can't just do it because then that's not good. You can't just do a musical for the sake of it. It has to have a heartbeat behind it. It has to have some truth behind it. Otherwise, it's a waste of time and a waste of people's money and a waste of networks' money and a waste of the studios. It's like a waste of money.
So you mentioned Danny.
Yeah.
Who's your writing partner and
Ride or die.
Creative partner in a lot of ways, right? Not black.
No.
So tell me.
We worked together on the movie called The Butler, and I just had the best time with him. I fell in love with him. I just said we were great collaborators. We bounced off of each other ideas, and it was a magical experience. And ordinarily, as a director, I don't get along with writers so well, you know. And I just it was like when you find the person that you know is right for you, you jump on it. And he said, let's do a TV show. I mean, he said, let's do another film. Let's do a hip-hop film. Let's take Butler to the next space. And I said, only if it's a TV show. So that's where we are.
But how does he get it?
What he gets is
Does he get
story.
you, or he gets...
He gets me, and he gets story. And then he gets me, and he gets a structure. I'm not really good at structure. I'm good at characters, and I'm good at dialogue, and I'm good at understanding the human condition, at really knowing people, you know? And he's good at the bigger picture. I can't tell you what's in episode 13, but he can. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So you feel like Empire has paved the way for this increased diversity that we're seeing on network television. Does that make you feel, again, I want to go back to success breeds more pressure. You know, I read a quote that it's easier to become number one than stay number one. Mm-hmm. It's harder to extend success than to actually.
I really don't look at it that way.
No.
I don't look at it that way at all. I want to do theater next. I want to do another, I want to jump back to what I came from, theater. I'm just an artist trying to find my way.
So when you see Hamilton, what do you think?
Love so much.
Which we saw together.
Oh my God, love so much, and
Love.
I want to do something like that. It inspired me to go back to do that.
Okay, so last question before we go to the audience. Brian Grazer told me, who's one of your colleagues on Empire, he told me that he's here too.
Hey, BG.
You went to 4 broadcast networks with Empire.
Yeah.
2 immediately liked it and said they were very interested in it. And the other 2 didn't. But one of the other 2 was so brutal in their criticism that he said you guys were in the elevator after the pitch and you were practically crying, all of you.
Well, I wasn't. I'm used to. Look, they tell me I can't do anything. Everyone. Everything I've ever done, I've been told by everybody that it should not be done. And starting from Monsters Ball to the Butler, they laughed me out of Precious. I mean, I'm used to being laughed at.
So does that mean...
I'm used to being mocked. I'm used to being laughed at. I'm used to being laughed out of offices because that's my career. Literally, and laughed out of offices.
So does that make you much more aggressive and much more...
just more passionate about let's figure out a way to make it happen.
Do you want to prove them wrong?
No, I'm not here to prove anybody wrong. I'm just here to get my work done.
So you're just in your bubble doing your work and the other stuff just is?
Yeah.
Let's go to the audience. Questions for Lee Daniels. You can make your way to either microphone. While people decide if they want to touch this topic, I want to ask you about being a director.
Yes.
Because again, I'm going to quote my husband. He says, directors don't take good direction. You are used to being in charge, used to having your way. When you're a director, there's a personality type that comes with that.
Yeah.
Do you find that to be true of yourself?
That's the reason why I did television, so that I could learn how to take direction. Because, there are all these people that are telling you what to do.
But do you take direction well? I mean, I've had conversations with you about people who want to give you notes and change scenes.
No, I don't. But I've learned that I'm not right. I'm not right all the time.
But how?
That's what I learned. That's what TV taught me. That guess what? There's another way of doing it. And you're not right, Lee Daniels. And so I've learned a lot from people.
So does that mean that you've been more willing to back down on your point of view?
No.
In television?
It means
than
that I'm open to criticism in a way that I haven't been before. And then I know that I'm not right and I'm learning. That's what it means.
We have a question here. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I was wondering if you could expand more about what you thought about this trend of we're hearing a lot of people just keep passing the buck on what the problem is with diversity, right? If you look at Matt Damon's recent remarks, or everybody says it's not their problem, it's somebody else's problem. It's the writer, it's the director. How do you think we can really counter that? And also, are we ever going to get a Cookie spinoff?
I'd like to have a spinoff of sorts. I don't know we're ready for a spinoff. We have to really make sure that that the baby is still walking and going to college. But it'd be fun to have a Cookie spinoff. Not a Cookie spinoff, but to understand where Cookie came from, and to understand where Lucius came from, and how they're interacting. Just what we talked about. How you can connect. What's it like to be wealthy, and how is your family dealing with that wealth in the African American community? Fascinated by that. And what was your other question?
My other question was about really pinpointing where the issue is and making people somebody take responsibility for it instead of passing the buck on every single time.
Passing the buck is something that it's expected, and I think that it's passing the buck has been going on since since pre-Martin Luther King. And I think that you just have to take a bullet. And I think that you have to be prepared to be looked at as you have to be prepared to be sued. You have to be prepared to be laughed at. You have to be prepared to be looked at as a freak, as an oddity, as a joke, and take the buck.
So was that you at that round table?
I don't
Not
know.
passing the
I'm
buck?
just saying, you figure it out. I don't know.
Is it our responsibility to hold people accountable?
Yes.
So
Yes. Absolutely.
And how do you do that?
Calling them out.
Do they run from you at cocktail parties?
No. I have many friends. All my friends are, yeah.
But your friends get it. It's the people who maybe aren't your friends where you're making them uncomfortable with the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what the thing is, it just is as you say.
Yeah.
It's not right or wrong, it just is.
It
Now,
just
maybe
is.
it's right or wrong because we have a point of view that a more diverse society creates a better outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't share that view. So they take that as an indictment, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why empire is empire. There's a reason.
Question.
Hi, Lee. You mentioned you don't worry about demographics, but in your artistic process, do you ever worry about commercial implications of what you're creating?
I just started, which is, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes, like they go, oh, well, you know, we really, there was a quote about, we had a Latino group in because, you know, we wanted a Latino demographic. I never thought about it like that. I just thought about telling a story, and for the first time I thought, oh, wow, okay, maybe we can give a voice to the Latinos. Why not, you know? And so I would have never thought about that, and so, quite honestly, the demographic of the Latino audience and having their voices heard was important to me. So, yeah.
But it wasn't important from the perspective of, at least I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't thinking, oh, I'm going to have more audience. You were
He
thinking,
said commercial. You said commercial?
Yeah, do you ever worry about like the commercial implication? Like, do you just trust your artistic process, whatever?
Or are you
comes
thinking
out,
about the
comes out?
commercial?
Sometimes
Or do you worry about-
sometime a little dark. So I have to, and this is when the network and or Brian Grazier pulls me in from myself and saves me from myself. Yeah, it was the first time I have thought about the idea of expanding and getting another audience, or caring about another audience.
do people expect that from you? So they say, there's a black guy, he's doing stories about family that happen to be black people. He's done a lot of movies about black people. He, of course, should have diversity on his mind.
Right,
And
but I
Latino
really haven't.
people
I mean, I
should-
really have. I mean, I just have. I mean, The Butler and Precious really were the only two black movies that I've done. You know, The Paperboy I love, and that's an entirely white cast. Monsters Ball we had two black people.
Were they upset that you had an entirely white cast for The Paperboy?
No, I had David Oyelowo. He doesn't count because he's not
He
American.
counts, come on.
But
He's African.
He's African, but yeah, but he's not American.
Okay.
He's African American. He's African.
So it wasn't a all-white cast.
Pretty much, yeah.
But you weren't...
And Macy Gray.
You weren't casting the movie thinking...
No, I
who are-
never cast from a place of color.
But don't
As a matter
you
of fact, I
want-
try to go against the grain.
Okay, but I'm going to push you on this.
Yeah.
Don't you then say, when you look at Hollywood and you look at the lack of diversity in certain places, that is the defense of a director that has never had any diversity in a movie or a television show or what have you, and say, well, that's not right.
I do,
So how can you have the double standard?
because it is, and I am. And life ain't that easy, you know?
So do you think that because of that, if you don't get a pass, or do you get a pass? So if someone said, Lee Daniels' next movie has no black people in it, would that be something that you should be held accountable for?
No, not at all.
It's hard for me to get my arms around this one.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm not saying it in a way of being
Yeah.
argumentative. I just want to understand. So does that
I'm an artist first.
But if I were sitting
I'm an artist
here,
first.
but no. If I were sitting here with a white guy who had never had diversity in anything that they'd ever done, never had diversity in their writer's room, who had done lots and lots of television shows, and they said, I'm an artist first, would that be okay with you? You know, there's that famous comment about...
You know what? I'm here to do one thing. I'm here to make my kids proud. And I have to look beyond color. And I can't be the poster boy for the cause, any cause. The only cause that I care about are that my kids are proud about me, about my work. And my mom's proud about me, about my work.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Daniels.
That was fun.